Alright, so in this video here, I asked you guys if you want to know more about my Amazon ads, and a lot of you guys seemed interested in it. So today, I'll go over my 5-step process on how I do my Amazon ads. This will also be applicable if you are on Seller Central. Let's get into it. So first off, what is Amazon ads? Well, if we just head to Amazon, and so if I just search for shirt here, for instance, there are different types of ads that you can do, but just to simplify everything, I'm mainly gonna talk about sponsored products, as that's the main thing that I use and the main thing that's probably most applicable to everyone. There are also sponsored brands, but I won't go into that. So these here are basically sponsored, so they pay extra money to have a separate listing in search that's on top of the search page here. And depending on the rank of the listing, it can be here on page 2 and so forth. But mainly you have those sponsored shirts. A bit down you have some more sponsored listings, or more mainly like sponsored products. Just like Etsy, like I've talked about previously, you pay to have a separate listing in search that's marked as sponsored in this case. And those are our ads listings. Now, why do we actually want to have a separate listing in search since we have the organic one? The reason for that is that I heard a statistic once, which I've found myself in by experience. I've found that it's true. And what that basically is that a customer needs to see your listing at least 7 times in order to purchase. If they see like a listing here, for instance, like this at the top of the search page here, and then they just scroll down and they see your organic one as well, just down here, there's a much higher likelihood of them actually purchasing your listing. That's been my personal experience by using both Amazon ads and Etsy ads. It's like a common denominator between the two platforms. So basically you use the ads to get visibility so that it can get some initial sales. And then once it gets sales, it gets higher ranked, like the organic listing gets higher ranked. And as it gets more rank, you will get more sales and so forth. But basically the ads are a way and a tool that you can use to garner rank on the platform. How does this even work? If we just look here, for instance, in my portfolios on Amazon ads, there's a lot to it compared to Etsy ads. Etsy ads is just a click and then it's on ads. That's not how it is here on Amazon. It's a lot more complex. Basically, like if you just root it down to the most basic principle, it's still pay per click. So for instance, if I would click this specific listing here, it would cost the specific seller a certain amount of money, since they are paying to be up here, but mainly they are paying once I click on the listing, that's when they get billed. So both Etsy and Amazon is like this. So once a customer clicks on the listing in search, the ad listing, that's when you are billed because you pay for that specific click. PPC as it's called, which is short for pay per click. And the most important thing when it comes to this is to know that everything is about your design when it comes to POD. And if you have a design that doesn't sell, ads will it won't fix a turd basically. So if you have a design that doesn't sell, it won't fix that by any means. All that ads can do is give you more exposure. Whether that's good or bad, that depends solely on at least on Amazon merch, it depends mainly on the design itself. If we just take a look here at my Amazon ads, you can see that I've divided up different portfolios, as they call it here, into 4 different sections. So to use ads efficiently, I want to divide all of my designs up depending on how popular they are. And if we go into the first bracket here, the cold portfolio, what this is that this just entails all of my designs and my products that hasn't sold even once. So the ones that has sold a total of 0 times. This is like in like common like ads terminology, this is a cold audience, someone that hasn't heard of you when you think about Facebook ads. But basically here it's the audience, or basically it's the designs that hasn't sold even once. I found this video by a guy called Cameron talking about a campaign that he made called the lottery campaign, and I've implemented a version of that here. What a lottery campaign basically is that I just take all of my listings, then I divide them up through like each product category, and then I just insert them all in here. So every single listing that hasn't sold even once is basically in this listing, in each of these ad groups here. And then the key thing to know here is that the bid that I have, since you're on Amazon ads, you can choose how much you want to pay for each click basically. I won't go into the specifics of a lottery campaign, as that will take a whole video just to do that. But the gist here basically is to just take all listings that hasn't sold even once, make an ad group for each product category, insert all of the listings that hasn't sold once, like all the raglans, all the hoodies, into each ad group like I've done here. And all the bids should be really, really, really low. basically 5 cents, I think it is, should be for each ad group. But basically it should be dynamic bids down only and 5 cents per bid. It should also be an automatic campaign. The thinking behind all of this, essentially within this type of audience, is to find listings that will actually have some potential to sell. So you basically, like, the ROAS is insane for this. I mean, you have an ACOS of 3%, and the reason for that is that you're just trying to find specific listings that are actually have a potential to sell really well. You want to take all the products that you have, dig up which could be potential sellers that can sell with just a small tiny fraction of ads, and then you want to see them into the next phase, which is what I call the warm-ups. These are usually like typical ads terminology, but this is all the listings that has sold once. Basically, I put them into an automatic campaign. All of them are basically shoved into this specific campaign, but then I have this just a higher bid here. So yeah, the gist of basically having like the products in the warm-ups category is that everything needs to be like, you shouldn't even divide them up by different product categories here. Everything that has sold at least once should be put in this, and the bid is about 15 cents to 20 cents, and it's also dynamic bids down only. It should be that for all targeting groups except for compliments. I forgot to talk about this in the lottery campaign, but basically same thing there. Compliments is off with dynamic bids down only. And the bid is between 15 to 20 cents because you want to have more fuel to the fire if something actually works. And then you have all the loose match, the close match, and the substitutes should be have a 15 to 20 cent bid. And the thinking behind this is basically something that has actually sold well. Everything should be an automatic campaign, so that like the budget that is actually set for this specific campaign will only be allocated towards the products that will actually sell well, since it's a set budget for the whole campaign. Every listing in one and the same, and it's an automatic campaign to just figure out which of these listings that has sold at least once could sell really well. Once we actually see that something is selling consistently, that's when we're gonna move them on to the next phase, which is the hot phase. We have tested even further and put more budget into these tests now, into specific listings with this automatic warm-ups campaign. So we now know which ones of from the warm-ups are selling consistently. What we then do is that we want to actually hone in on those specific listings. So we will actually make a listing specifically for each and every listing that is actually selling well for the warm-up campaign. The difference here is that we are honing in on specific listings, and then in the targeting groups like I did here, we are doing close match, loose match, and substitutes. So we take a listing and we hone in on it, and by honing in on it, we basically make a campaign specifically for the design that is actually working well. And within the ad groups, we divide them up by close match, loose match, and substitutes. We skip the compliments since that is not working super well. Then we have a bid of around 20 cents for the whole campaign. It's an automatic campaign as well, and it's dynamic bids down only. And yeah, we have basically every product that is selling well for the specific design in these different ad groups that are split by targeting. The reason for this is that we actually want to find out which keywords that are selling really well when we are honing in on specific listings that are selling well. This one, for instance, has done super well. It has a ROAS of 10. Once we find listings that are doing very, very well within this campaign, that's when we let them basically go. We funnel them down through this funnel here, but that's when they've sold really well. Here, they've basically become what I refer to as our hero design. And this is a bit different from all the rest. These are just manual campaigns. So for instance, this is the same type of product that is doing very, very well for me. And what we do here is that we have a manual campaign, and from the previous campaign, that was the hot campaign, that's we get when we hone in on specific listings and only have a campaign for one specific type of design, we can actually see which exact keywords the design is selling for. And that's what we'll use for our manual campaign here. So this is a manual campaign, as I mentioned. It has a much higher bid. It's between I do it for like 40 cents to about 75 cents per click. It's also dynamic bids down only. And from the keywords that we get when we hone in on the specific listing, that's what we'll use here in our manual campaign. So, and to make it easy, the best thing in my opinion is to just split up the campaign into different ad groups where it's split up by the product category. If you're promoting a t-shirt, it shouldn't be, for instance, tote bag, or it shouldn't be, for instance, now the tumbler. Within the keywords that you're targeting manually for this specific type of campaign. So you really want to hone in on the exact keywords that you found from the manual campaign and only use the relevant ones for each product type. Kind of a generalization on how I do it. It's definitely like more in depth, and I can't go into every single nitty like every single detail that I do, because I'd have to make one video for each specific part of the funnel here. If you'd like to see that, just comment down below if you want to see the lottery campaign, or if you want to see the warm-ups campaign, if you want to see the hot campaign, if you want to see the hero campaign. Please comment down below which one of those you would see the most, and I'll make a video on that later on for you if there's a lot of demand for it. But that's basically how I do it. The gist is basically just taking things that hasn't sold, testing all of them out in a lottery campaign by just having a really low bid, and just to try to flesh out which products and designs have some real potential here. Then you shove them into an automatic campaign where everything is just shoved into one, and you have around like a 15 to 20 cent bid. Everything is just shoved in an automatic campaign. It's also all of these are basically dynamic bids down only. Yeah, it's super easy like that. And all of the bids for the warm-ups campaign is all the same across all targeting groups. And then for the hot campaign here, the goal is to hone in on specific sellers that are selling consistently from the warm-ups campaign. You do that by just making a campaign for a specific listing and then dividing them up in different ad groups, and they're divided by which targeting they're doing. So one ad group would be for close match, one for loose match, and one for substitutes. The bid is around 20 cents here as well, but you're honing in on this one specific design. And lastly, you have the manual campaigns, which is for the hero designs. These are selling super well for you. From the keywords that you got from the hot campaign, you basically use those as data for the manual campaigns. So you use the keywords that worked really well here, and you just insert them, the ones that worked super well into the hot campaign, the hero campaign here. And you have a much higher bid because they are selling real well, so you just want to put more fuel to the fire. So the bid is around 40 to 75 cents depending on how well it's doing. Testing out everything with a really low bid, and then just honing in, then just testing out even more to find out the 20% that are selling really, really well. So just honing in as much as possible to the specific listings that will carry like your whole shop. And the last thing that I really want to go over is ROAS and ACOS. These are my main two metrics that I go for, that I also always want to like look after. What ROAS basically is that, let's say that you sell something for $20 and then you spend $5 in ad spend. That means that you basically get $20 when you spend $5 and someone buys something for $20, and you get 4 times back by the $5 ad spend basically. So if I sell, for instance, something for $20, it costs you $5 in ad spend, the ROAS is 4, since you get 4 times back. What's a bit difficult when it comes to the Amazon ads is that in our merch portal, if we do a merch on demand like me, we can only see our royalties. But the Amazon ads here, they counted off the sales price, like the end sale price that the consumer pays. That makes it a bit difficult, but still like manageable. ACOS here is basically just the inverse of ROAS. It's the same thing, but just the inverse. When we think about ACOS, how much it basically cost us per sale to actually acquire the sale. These two say the exact same thing here. It's just the inverse of each other. So for instance, if we sell something for $20 and we basically cost us $5 to get the sale in ad spend, then we have a ROAS of 4. Now, if it costs us $5 in ad spend to get the $20 sale, then we take 5, divide that by 20, and we have 25%. So ACOS is more in percent. It says the exact same thing. But these are the metrics that I always go for. These are my KPIs, as you would call it, like the key performance indicators, but basically the metrics that you always track to make sure that you're profitable and doing well. Now, what I found with this type of, because I've tried a lot of things with my ads, the thing is that if you're spending too little on your ads, you can spend more to get more sales. Because if I basically turn all of my ads off, and that basically just gives me like a quarter of the sales that I actually have. So I lose out a lot if I don't use my ads. So ads is just a huge thing on Amazon to actually get sales. It's, in my opinion, necessary. And the ROAS that I want to see here in my merch account is basically around a 7 in ROAS or a 13 to 15% ACOS. That's the ACOS that I found that is working very well for me. If I tried before to have it around like 20 to 25%, but that's way too high for me. I lose out way too much on my ads. And I do want to preface that and just say that I do have a good margin on Amazon. On my listings on Amazon, I always want to hit around like a $6 or $7 royalty on my Amazon listings. But even with that, I found that doing like too much in ads, it doesn't give me enough sales to cover up for the ads, at least not with this ad structure that I have. And when it comes to this, I don't want to spend too much time in my ads console. So I'll try to make it as passive as possible. So what I really do all day, if I find something in my lottery campaign, like if I basically go into my productor page and I see that something new has sold, I just take that listing, add that into my warm-ups, and then that's basically almost done. If I want to, I can always go into my hot campaign, into my manual campaign here, in my hero campaign, and try to optimize and add new ones if I want to, but I almost never do it because this is what I basically usually do in a month, either this, or if it's a really good month, I can do it like 4 to 5K and then minus the ad spend. I don't know how much it is from the profit, but basically from the sales price, it's basically 13 to 15% in ACOS or around 7 in ROAS. This setup allows me to just add stuff into my warm-ups each and every day when something new sells. Then if I want to, I can add some new stuff here into my hot campaign to find new bestsellers and then graduate them into my hero portfolio. But I haven't really even done that whole year, but I'm still like making around like $1,500 to $3,000 profit each month. All right, so this covered how I do Amazon ads. But as we all know, the core of a print-on-demand business is the design. So if you want to learn more about that, then I suggest watching this video right here. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.